rather than translations. But at the end of 6 years, I was terribly frustrated, because what I was really looking after, that who is the supreme God, and in Vedas, he's kind of presented as an impersonal entity, and I wanted to have a personal aspect of the Supreme Lord, and I did not get that. So after that, fortunately, I was introduced by a devotee and come to the devotional platform, and then I got focused on the Bhakti Shastras. So those scriptures that specializes only about the bhaktis, that is the upasana portion of the Vedic scriptures. So that is what here Narada Muni is pointing out, that we should not waste unnecessarily our valuable time, each and every moment. In fact, it's a kshana. Kshana means the fraction of a second. Every fraction of a second is very, very important. And even Bhakti Shastra also can be a very, very large expanse. So that is where we ought to focus ourselves. Okay. So then moving on to that. So he says that Sutra 76, follow the directions of Bhakti scriptures. Scriptures that specialize only bhakti toward the Supreme. And then Sutra 77, he says, patiently endure material distress. So while we are being trained in that, and we still have material life all around us, okay, happiness, distress, all the dualities of the life on the material platform, that is going to be always there, and they can be impediments on our path, but disregard that. Don't get entangled on those things, because those are not the main problems of our material existence. We need to get out of it and come to the spiritual platform. So that's what he's saying, that all this, we will see the whole list of it. Narada Muni says that. So don't waste precious seconds on that. Then Sutra 78, cultivate desirable qualities conducive for bhakti. In fact, my hypothesis, many times I mentioned to you, is precisely based on that. How to cultivate desirable qualities. Just because we are born, Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, we don't necessarily need to live that way. We do have actually a way, an avenue to change ourselves. Undesirable traits can be removed and desirable traits can be attained, and how to scientifically demonstrate, that is my hypothesis. And that is going to be my second book. My first book is already out. In India, it is already out there. Maybe if you are interested, you may buy it. It's very, very cheap. It's about, just a round figure is about 200 rupees only, and that is all, that is the synopsis of Bhagavad Gita, but primarily focused on the absolute knowledge, Paramajnana, So that is already out there. It just came out last week only, Okay, moving on to Sutra 79. Those free of doubts should constantly worship the Lord with all their hearts. So first, to remove the doubts, and that means first you must have a Shraddha, Adav Shraddha. In fact, Madhurya Kadambini course that we are going to begin, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's beginning next week. It's all about that actually, Shraddha to Prema. There are the two verses in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of Rupa Goswami that Vishwanath Chakravarti expands in the whole book, Madhurya Kadambini, that will begin from next week onwards. So all the doubts, samshaya, will be removed. Remember that Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, the science of Krishna, when we attain that, and that comes only after when we begin pure devotional service. Okay, simply hearing about Krishna, he purifies all the, he removes all the obstacles on our path, and he makes us qualified to render pure devotional service unto his lotus feet. And then this Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, the science of Krishna, he imparts from his internal potency, some of its Shakti. And when we get this Bhagavad Tattva Vijnanam, what happens? Vidyate Hriday Granthis, Chindyate Sarva Samshaya, Chiyanti Chasya Karmani, Drasht Evatmani Ishvara. So all this tight note that we have, that we cannot untie by ourselves, the tremendous attraction, we are spirit soul, but we have this tremendous affinity for our material body, material desires, that we cannot untie ourselves. But when we have the science of Krishna, automatically that note is pierced through, then all the samshayas, all the doubts, misgivings that we might have, that also will be automatically removed. And then what? All the karmic bondage that has accumulated over millions of lifetimes, that will be completely dissolved. And then we get just Evatmani Ishvara. We become really realized in who we are. We are not this physical body. We are spirit soul. And second important aspect of this Atma Jnana, that we are meant to serve Shri Krishna. And that is what we are talking about here. Narada Muni is talking about the bhakti, pure bhakti. So all the doubts automatically removed when we get the science of Krishna. And then Sutra 80, when the Lord is glorified, he reveals himself as he is to his devotees. There is a great mercy of the Supreme Lord when he realizes that we really care to come to him and develop bhakti towards him. Then he imparts, Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pratipurvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mama upayantite. Then noticing our rendering of a pure, prema, very loving devotional service unto him and unto his devotees, then Lord reveals himself. He gives necessary intelligence, directions for us, guidance, how to attain him, come nearer and nearer and closer to him. So he himself opens up the path for us, free of all obstacles. Okay, Sutra 81. The devotee's precious possession is his bhakti. That's all we have, and that's our right. Actually, Krishna says every living entity has a right to render bhakti towards him. So that is our precious possession, the only possession that we might have. Nothing. The devotee's precious possession is his bhakti, rendered through man, vachan, and karma. Man means the mind, vachan means the speech, and the karma that is rendered by our bodily senses. So there is man, vachan, karma, all three ways that we can express the truth, that with that we should apply through our bhakti, which is the only our possession. Okay. Then Sutra 82, although devotional service is one, it becomes manifested in 11 forms. And that's what I was telling you right from the beginning, remember? And this is what really struck me in my mind. It caught my attention, that all this 25 years of rendering devotional service, first time, I knew bits and pieces, but here in a very, very open way, Narada Muni identifies 11 kinds of attachment that we should all cultivate, develop that, and that is possible for every one of us. And we'll see. I knew about Krishna's beauty and his charm and his this human-like sweet passion, his sweetness, that I knew. But here there are 11 items that we need to cultivate that. And that I really want you to pay special attention when we come to that sutra. Sutra 83, these are the sayings. So now anything great Acharya says, not by his own words, but they always back it up with other authoritative sources, So Narada Muni here also says, these are the sayings, all these things that you already said just now, they are by the founding authorities who say without any fear and share among themselves one and the same opinion. There is no contradiction, different angle of vision, but the same truth, So that's what he names all this great personality. I told you there are 12 Mahajanas. Narada Muni is one of them, right? But here he talks about many others also. Then the final Sutra 84, that's where he concludes. And so like any other spiritual presentation, the great acharyas, they always offer Shruti Phala, the benedictions of hearing their teachings. So here Narada Muni also offers that. What is that Shruti Phala of this Narada Bhakti Sutra? Blessed with devotion and attain the Supreme Lord. See that? So two benedictions we get here by attending this course. First and foremost, that we get this prema bhakti, and ultimately attain the Supreme Lord Krishna right there. Because Krishna, he is preaching Krishna's glories all over the three universes, three lokas, and he himself is saying that. So it's just amazing. I'm really moved by that when he offers that benedictions, and that we all have that. So with this overview, now we'll dive into it. Okay. So first, the Sanskrit part, English translation, because it's very important. You should really make an effort to really look into the Sanskrit part also. It on the surface, the language looks very difficult, right? Because the whole many words, they're combined together. They're composite words. But if you learn how to sandhi, break it apart, there are rules of that. Grammatic rules are there. How to break sandhi. When you learn that, then the meaning automatically stands out in front of your eyes. So I'll try to do that for you too. Okay, let's move on. So now, beginning with Sutra 74 to 77, that I'm zooming it on here, begins with Vado na avalambya. See that? Navalambya, if you read it like that, you don't know what it means, But that's the composite of two words. Na avalambya. Avalambya means that which is not attained. You cannot get it. So by being engaged in that, okay, you cannot get from what? Vada. You must have heard Vada Vivada, Tarka Vitarka. So that is a debate. There are counter arguments, arguments, and then there are counter arguments between two opposing parties, right? And then Tarka Vitarka, they one have a particular opinion, and in support of that, they will present arguments. The other party will exactly opposite kind of conclusions he might have come, and he will support his opposing arguments also. How could that be possible? So that is the what is called logic, philosophical, mental speculation. That's when Narada Muni says, no, don't do that. So said, na avalambya, don't get engaged into this kind of fruitless debate. I had that habit not too long ago, actually, because of studying this Shastra all these years. If somebody says different, I have this natural tendency to defend, Yes, in fact, we'll see he draws certain qualifications for that. Why we should not, but in certain cases we might, particularly when somebody is blaspheming the Supreme Lord or blaspheming the Vaishnavas, then becomes our duty to defend ourselves, okay? But we defend ourselves on the strength of the Shastra, not this mental speculation, logical arguments, because logical arguments are always can be opposed. There might be superior debater who will always come along. In fact, the munis, the sages, how do you define a muni? Muni is defined by that he can defend a particular a statement in the Shastra and defeat others. That is called. So every muni has a separate, completely separate his own viewpoint, and they very vehemently defend and present a very persuasive argument. But there are munis and there are other munis. Okay, so there is a gradation of different people. So even though he may present it sounding very, very strong arguments, very persuasive arguments, but there could be equally powerful other debaters might come along and might defend and punch holes in it, based on simply arguments. So that is why Narada Muni is saying, don't do that. It is counterproductive. The scriptural statements is not subject to this kind of arguments. So that is coming straight from the Supreme Lord and must be accepted as it is. So we'll go through that. Sutra 75. Here, look at that this word is composed of many, many words. But let's break it apart. Bahulya, avakashat, avakashatvat, aniyata pacha. So see that I break it apart. Bahulya means excessive, tremendous, beyond limit. Bahulya. Avakasha means the opportunity, possibility. Okay. Then avakashvat, niyat, aniyata. What is niyata? You must have heard the word niyati. Niyati means something that is bound to happen, a fate, right? Something bound to happen. Then aniyatavata. Aniyati means that which is opposite. So that which is going to bound to happen, that's not going to happen now. Okay. Chad. So all these things. So see how when I break it apart, you can begin to see the meaning of that, right? So bahulya, again, let me repeat. Bahulya avakashatvad aniyate aniyatvat cha. So argumentation leads to excessive entanglement. You become really tied up in that arguments and counter arguments, and you forget the main points that we are after that, and can never be decisive. Okay, that the opposing party will never accept you as it is, even though you may be right. Okay, especially spiritual truth, and one who is not open-minded would not agree to that. So that's never conclusive. That's why Narada Muni says, avoid that. Then here, so what Narada Muni then subsequently says that Bhakti Sastrani, that Shastra, that Vedic scriptures specialize only in Bhakti, Upasana, service, devotional service. That's what you need to concentrate. That's what you need to focus. Even for focusing on Bhakti Shastra itself, last 25 years I've been doing that. Look at how many courses that we have presented just in that. All the major, and that Bhakti also, I'm focusing only on the Bhakti proposed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, so Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, on that itself, I focused last 25 years on that. Actually, 35 years. First 10 years, I learned myself, taking courses at Vrindavan and Mayapur, earning my Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav degrees in those in late 80s and beginning 90s. That's when I got that, and that time was just beginning. Then I did my 2 courses, about teaching Bhakti Shastras. So that first 10 years was spent like that. Only I used to get, because I was working full time, I could get only one summer. So each summer I used to take and go to India and learn for about a month or so. That's what the time I had, So that's why it took 3-4 years for each courses, and Bhakti Vaibhav took a lot more than that, So just even the bhakti itself, and that too also specializing in Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy itself, it took me. Forget about the other kinds of Vaishnava, like the coming from the south, Sri Sampradaya, Shiva Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya, and so on like that. They all have different kind of philosophies, but they all are Vaishnava philosophies. So those things I did not even master that. Just the Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy itself. Still, it took me 10 years, 35 years before I began, and then next 25 years I started preaching, because only when you teach you learn much more. Okay, so Narada Muni says, Bhakti Sastrani Mananiya Ani. Manan means meditation, deliberation. So he said that focus on only those Bhakti Sastras. That is your goal, to develop pure devotional service under the Supreme Lord. You learn about that, study about that, Then Tad Bodha, see that here also composite of 3-4 words. Tad Bodhaka Karmani, 3 words. Tad, that. Bodha, learning about that. Karmani, by actions on that. Then Karaniyani. So here says, the one should respect the revealed scriptures of devotional service, focused, specialized only in bhakti, and that also Krishna bhakti, not the demigod bhakti. So we are specializing each and every angle now. And discharge, mananiya, yeah. So that means deliberate discharge. The duties they prescribe, karaniyani. Okay, moving on to Sutra 77. Sukha, now what we just heard before, right? He said, avoid, you have very, very, very precious time you have. Every second counts. Ardhakshana, half of the fraction of a second. Okay, that also you should not waste. It may take several lifetimes actually. So you should not waste any time. So if you have other problems, because you are in material existence, as long as you still have material body, these other problems will always be there. But don't pay attention to that. Don't waste your time. The bigger issue is all the sukha, dukkha, happiness, distress, all these dualities will always be there, chasing after us, Don't get entangled in that. Don't waste time. Just ignore. They come and go. They come and go. Sukha, dukkha, look at that. Sukha, dukkha, icha, desires. Okay. Labha, gaining something. Adi, etc., etc. Tyakte, give up. Kale, in time. They automatically, in time, they will dissipate by your whether you spend time or not. They will come and go. It's like seasons, summer and winter. They come and go, and get used to it. But you focus on the main goal. Don't forget about that. Then pratikshanamane. Pratiksha means what? You are waiting for something, right? That's called pratiksha. The word pratiksha, the etiology of that word, how did it come? Pratiksha. Iksha means eyes. You wait for someone, looking for someone, you wait in that. No, so that's called pratikshamane. Shanardha api. Shana means the fraction of a second. Ardha, half of that. Even that you should not waste, because that also counts. You utilize that time in learning Bhakti Shastras. Vyartha, that is, so these all things, Sukha, Dukkha, all these things, Icha, Labha, those dualities, is just a waste of time. Shramayeva kevalam. Don't waste. Vyartha. Vyartha means it's useless. Don't spend. Nayam. Don't worry about that. So full translation, patiently enduring till the time when one can put aside all material happiness, distress, desire, false gain. One should not waste even a fraction of a half a second. See that? Sutra 78. Here also see the whole sentence is that in one word. Actually, it's composed of many words. So let's break it. Ahimsa, Satya. So now we are going to see those showing different elements of that. Okay. Ahimsa, Satya, Saucha, Daya, Asakti, Ityadi, Charitrayani. Charitra means the characteristics. So there are 4 kinds of characteristics. Okay, what is Satya? Truth, Ahimsa, non-violence, Saucha, purity, and then Daya, compassion. Compassion for those who are not that fortunate. So in fact, these are the 4 pillars of Brahminical platform. Brahminical platform rests on these 4 platforms, and the 4 regulative principles exactly derived by that. Non-violence means not just killing animals, even don't hurt somebody's feelings. किसी का हाय मत लिएगा. बेचारे स्पेशल जो subordinates हैं आपके, you know, they cannot say openly, but their pain comes out from the heart. हाय निकलती है, वो भी आपको बहुत बुरी तरह आपको इफेक्ट हो गया, you know. So don't do even that kind of violence commit like that, especially in your subordinates. You know, many people mistreat their wives, you know, and it really pains my heart how they are going to suffer later on in their lives, you know, because they will change the fix their next life, they will come in that kind of role. So that is called true non-violence. Then Satya, always speak truth. The truth always comes out no matter what. Saucha, purity. Purity, not just outer, just taking bath, but internal purity. Your heart and the mind must be pure also, you know. Then Daya, compassion. किसी के लिए दया होनी चाहिए. वैष्णव तो वो तो by nature there. वैष्णव जन तो तेने रे कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने. They can experience the pain of others. That is the true Vaishnava. Narasimha Mehta said that, you know. So these are the 4 kinds of characteristics that says Paripala Niyani. Paripal means that you should focus on that, try to cultivate that. Narada Muni says. See that each and every thing that he says in his parting, in his conclusive remarks, they are very, very important take-home messages for all of us. Okay, moving on to Sutra 79. Sarvada, always, all the time. Sarva bhavena. Bhava means emotions, because we serve Krishna through our emotions. Sarva bhavena, all our emotions, all our bhavas, we serve. Nishchintya. Chinta, worries. Nishchintya, without worries. You know, Bhagwan eva, only through Bhagwan Shri Krishna, you always serve through your emotions, all your emotions coming naturally, okay, coming truthfully, coming from your heart, not acting, and then without any kind of worries, misgivings, you serve Krishna, Bhajaniya. Always, every second of your life, those who are free of doubts should constantly worship the Supreme Lord with all their hearts. So each and every parting instructions that Narada Muni gives at his conclusion, as you can see, that is how we can attain perfection. Then Sutra 80, Sakirtiyamana. Kirti means the fame, you know, Shigram. So now he says, you are going to get it, everything, if you follow his instruction. When Krishna is glorified, Kirtiman, you glorify his qualities, sweetness, and so on like that. Shigram, very soon. Shigram eva abhipurta bhavayati bhaktan. Immediately, he says, when Krishna is glorified by your emotions and you share among ourselves, among your fellow devotees all the time, then what happens? Shidram, Lord swiftly, quickly reveals himself to such devotees, to his devotees, and allows them to know him as he is. Shigram eva vibhurti anubhavayati bhaktan. Okay, now Sutra 81. Three satyasya, three means three. Three kinds of truth, actually. Bhaktir eva gariyasi, bhaktir eva gariyasi. So now he repeats, and to emphasize, there are three ways you can express this truth. How three ways? What are those three ways? He says that devotional service is the most precious possession of a person who honestly uses mana, vachana, and karma. I told you before, right? So these are the three ways how you can express yourself, the truth, the fundamental statements. There are three ways you can do: man, vachana, and karma. So your very being, atma nivedana, your very being is done by that three ways: man, vachana, and karma. Okay. So now verse 82, 83, 84. So now it's getting a little complex. Okay. And so in the interest of time, I'm going to speed up a little bit. So Guna Mahatmya Asakti. So now this is a very important sutra. I told you, remember, I was really struck that just came out right openly to my eyes. The 11 kinds of attachment that we should cultivate, So here's Guna Mahatmya. Guna means Krishna's transcendental qualities, Mahatmya. So that Asakti means attachment. So there are 11 kinds of attachment he enlists here. Then Rupa Asakti, then Krishna's exquisite beauty. Puja Asakti is deity worshipping him. Then Smarana Asakti, Smarana means remembering. Remember that saying, always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So that's Smarana Shakti. Dasya Asakti. Dasya means serving as a servitude, as a menial servant. Then Vatsalya Asakti, parental affection. Then Kanta Asakti. Kanta means Madhurya Rasa, conjugal prema, as a lover, beloved of Krishna. Even though we should not be considered as a male or female. We are meant to serve. In fact, bhakti is a feminine word. So we are all feminine when it comes to only male is Krishna. So in that bhava, that kind of attachment, asakti, you develop. Then Atma Nivedana Asakti, complete yourself, everything complete. This Narada Bhakti also ends in that, right? Your very soul, you become attached to the lotus feet of Shri Krishna. So there is this 11 kinds are there. Tanmaya Asakti, then continuing, Tad Anmaya means you to go to that extent that you become Krishnaized. Every roam of your body is totally committed to Krishna. That's what it is. Rupa Asakti, again, that's Rupa coming back again. Then Puja, that's an English translation. Param Vira, so this is the topmost. Especially, you have to develop, we don't feel that pain, separation from Krishna, okay? But the topmost devotees, they always miss Krishna all the time. So Viraha Shakti, Radharani, especially embodiment of that. So that we should need to cultivate that Viraha Asakti, feel the separation and being able to genuinely cry for Krishna, as we saw in that Prema Vivartis, Jagadananda Prabhu says that not only my eyes shedding tears all the time, but my heart cries, my mind cries. My entire very being cries for Krishna in separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then Rupa Adhika Pi Ekadasadha means these 11 items of this attachment, Bhavati, you cultivate that. So you see that now you see the 11 attachment that you just let's read the English translation so you remember all these 11 attachments. Although devotional service is one, it becomes manifested in 11 forms of attachment to the Lord's glorious qualities, His beauty, worshipping Him, remembering Him, serving Him, reciprocating Him with Him as a friend, caring for Him as a parent, dealing with Him as a lover, surrendering one's whole self to Him, being absorbed in thought of Him all the time, thinking about Him, and to experiencing separation from Him. This last is the supreme attachment. Narada Muni himself then described his own experience, that we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapters, I believe 5, 6, like that. How Narada Muni heard about Krishna when he was just a 5-year-old kid, and he had only his mother, who was widow, and widow was serving at that time. The great sages used to come in the monsoon season. So as part of service, this little boy also used to help his mom, and then he got to hear this Krishna Katha from these great sages that they were telling him. And not only that, he lovingly served them, and he had this remnants of their food as Mahaprasada that he used to take, and he developed that thing, and he developed this natural love for Krishna. He was going for all the time. Then Krishna actually appeared to him for just a fraction of a second. He heard his voice, and then he completely left him. So to create that longing for the Lord, that Vira Shakti, so Narada recalls that actually. Okay, Sutra 83. Iti eva, all these things, Vadanti, that I've said, Jana Jalpa Nirbhaya Ekamataha. Jana Jalpa Nirbhaya, without fear, all these things. Ekamata, all in the one opinion. Kumar, so then he, all these things, what he said, that these are not just my words, but these are according to the authorities, all the accepted authorities, and he names them: Kumara, Vyasa, Shandilya, Gargamuni, Vishnu, Kaundilya, and all this, including Uddhava and so on, like that, Bali Maharaj, Hanumanji, Vibhishana, and so on, like that. Thus they say the founding authorities of devotional service, the Kumaras, the 4 Kumaras, Srila Vyasadeva, Sukadeva Goswami, Shandilya Muni, Garga Muni, Vishnu, not the demigod, but the sage here, Kaundilya, Shesha, Uddhava, Aruni, Bali Maharaj, Hanumanji, Vibhishana, and so many others. Lord Shiva also there actually. He's one of the 12 Mahajanas. Speaking without fear of worldly gossip and sharing among themselves one and the same opinion. So what you learn, you share with your fellow devotees. Now the final 84th Sutra. Ya idam Narada Proktam. So all these things that's spoken by, Proktam means spoken Shri Narada Muni. Shiva Anushasham, Shiva means auspiciousness, that is given to this. So now this is the follow the benediction of hearing this thing that Narada Muni offers, that these things, when one you hears with great attention and great reverence what I just described to you, all auspiciousness comes to them, and Vishwas, with great Vishwasa, with great faith, Shraddha, faith, all that. Bhakti Manabhavan, and those people, this person who does that, he will get this bhakti. They become Bhaktiman, Shaktiman, like possessor of Shakti, right? So here Bhaktiman, you become the possessor of Krishna Bhakti, Sapreshtam Labhate, then that you obtain that, Labhate iti. So anyone who trusts these instructions spoken by Narad Muni and is convinced by them will be blessed with devotion and attain the most dear Lord. Yes, he will attain the most dear Lord. He repeats twice. Hare Krishna. So now, I just already not only given you Sanskrit translation, but even explain you in great detail. So this rest of it will go very quickly actually. So this is the verse Sutra 78. All virtues remain within the modes unless and until it's dovetail. O sinless one, the God of the mode of goodness, being purer than the others is illuminating, is free from all sinful reactions. So those situated in that mode becomes conditioned by the sense of happiness and knowledge. This is from Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter. So now in this being explain all these things, non-violence, violence, and all these things, truthfulness, satyam, all these things. Verse 79 highlight those who are free of doubt should constantly worship the Supreme Lord with all their hearts. Actually, all these things I have explained to you while reading these verses. So I'll just let's take a break. Haribol, 5-minute break.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. May I chant 12 Mahajan Shloka?
Perfect.
Yes,
it's very apt.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Swayambhur Narada Shambhu Kumaro Kapilo Muni Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Valir Vaisakir Vayam. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
30 seconds. Uh, 10 seconds. Okay. Sutra 80. When he is glorified, the Lord swiftly reveals himself to his devotees and allows them to know him as he is. So here Narada Muni relates, as soon as I begin to, so his own story that he tells, and I also summarize to you how when he was a 5-year-old kid, the only son to his mother, widow mother, and they were serving these great sages used to visit in monsoon season, and during their service, how he got to hear Krishna Katha. So this sadhu sangha, powerful means. So these are not easy, this kind of traits to come, but when you associate with other advanced devotees, then becomes easier, and you get a natural ruchi also, Vasudeva Katha ruchi, So this is what described in this paragraph. The next one, Narada Muni says, you have not actually broadcast this. So now Narada Muni is telling how he instructed Srila Vyasadeva, that Vyasadeva had compiled all the great, Vedas and all these things, Mahabharata and all these things, but he has not really compiled a scripture where he specifically described Krishna's supreme, wonderful, transcendental qualities. And that is what people need to hear, especially in this Kali Yuga. So you better do that. So he mildly criticized Srila Vyasadeva, and that's how Vyasadeva was inspired to compile the Srimad Bhagavatam Puran, So that is the description of that in the second paragraph. The third one, all glory and success to Sri Narada Muni, because he glorifies the activities of the personality of Godhead. So when you glorify the Supreme Lord, people recognize you too also, that you become part of it, And so doing himself takes great pleasure and also enlivens all the distressed souls of the universe. So, and we should always never pay attention while we are in material existence. Difficulties will come. Look at this, I'm constantly coughing, right? But you have to keep ignoring that. And it will come by its time expires, it'll go away, But you focus on what you're doing to serve the Supreme Lord and his devotees. That's what I'm trying to do that, So all these things I'm trying to ignore it, and it'll go away in its own time. Because this is a part of this is a part of the territory. Just like rose flower, when you admire, but rose always comes with its thorns. So you have to get used to the thorns also, right? So same way, when we are in material existence, we have this material body, difficulties will be there, but keep ignoring, try to learn, and that becomes facilitated when you associate with other devotees, especially more advanced devotees than you are. Then it will helps you to move forward, So yes, it is easier said than done, at least at the sadhaka stage when we are students. So it is not going to be easy, but keep focused and always trust and have faith in Krishna. So Krishna will send
advanced devotees by our way, and they will help us to move forward. So all things seemingly lofty terms, they really are doable. All the desirable traits can be developed, cultivated. And that is what my science is all about. Scientifically, how when we render devotional service, how genetic change is taking place. Those genes which encode the desirable physical traits in us, our personality, our behavior, they get selectively turned on. And those that are inconducive, non-conducive, they are impairment, they are selectively turned off concurrently. So that is my hypothesis actually. So this devotional service is like an environmental signal that can modulate expression of the genes. The sequence of the DNA is not changed, but the turning on and off switches, that is being carried out, you know. So that's one easy term I'm trying to explain you, simplify my hypothesis, how scientifically exactly that's my hypothesis is all about. Then Sutra 81, devotional service is the most precious possession of a person who honestly uses man, vachana, and karma. So by our three ways of satya, expression of that, man, vachana, and karma, we have to serve Krishna. By all our efforts, we may not be able to do successfully, but Krishna is all the time, he is there with us when we make efforts, because everything is done by him. Okay, what he wants is our desire, our sincere efforts, then everything is done by him. He facilitates our process because he wants us to come to him. He's waiting for us. Oh, most precious mother, I shall now explain to you. So this is Kapil Muni's teachings to his mother Devahuti, you know, about the Sankhya Yoga. He explained formally to the great sages. It is serviceable and practical in every way. And Srila Prabhupada writes in that purport, when we have a super excellent process already present in Vedic scriptures, process of bhakti, there is no need to concoct a new system, which is already there. And don't mislead the people. Now, at present, it has become a fashion to reject the standard system and present something bogus in the name of newly invented process. So this bhakti process is very simple. It's given, you know, our acharyas, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, simple in Kali Yuga, is chanting Hare Krishna, you know, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. We're going to learn great deal of depth in this Prema Vivarta course about this, just this chanting of the holy name, you know. There are nearly 200 verses out there in that course that we'll be running, you know. We already started that. Then next paragraph, as the best of man, vachana, and karma, bhakti's best happiness, the best action, the best meditation. Lord inquired of all types of education, which is the most important. So this is the dialogue taking place with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is asking the question, and he inspires Ramananda Roy to answer for the satisfaction of the Lord, and keeps on series of questions, you know. So this is what about that, a small tiny example of that. No education is important other than the transcendental loving service, devotional service. So then Mahaprabhu, so that's what Mahaprabhu asked him, what is the greatest thing that one should do? So Ramananda said, it is a bhakti process. So then Mahaprabhu inquired, out of all a liberated person, who should be accepted as the greatest? So Ramananda Prabhu said, one who has love for Krishna has attained the topmost liberation. Then Mahaprabhu asked, where should the living entity live, abandoning all other places? So Ramananda Prabhu said, he should live in the holy place known as Vrindavan of Vrajabhumi, where the Lord performed his rasa dance. And yesterday we heard, only in the Tirthasthana, the great devotees of the Lord also come there, visit, and you get to hear their discourses, you know, and their association, their mercy, blessings, and you make progress. Last paragraph. Bhakti confirms all knowledge and renunciation. Automatically, Jnana and Vairagya already comes from Bhakti. In fact, Jnana and Vairagya are the two sons of Bhakti Devi. You don't have to make separate efforts, independent efforts for that. Automatically comes. Jnanis, they first practice that, Vairagya and all this thing. In fact, that Prema Vivarta course again. What is the true meaning? What is the true renunciation ought to be there? Yukta Vairagya. Anything that is material, just because it's material, we should not neglect. We should utilize in Krishna's service, then become Yukta Vairagya. Otherwise, it becomes Falgu Vairagya, false renunciation. Last paragraph. Bhakti confers all knowledge. In all the jnana also comes from, remember, many times I tell you that about that only through this particular way, the jnana already comes directly, renunciation. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotion. Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Krishna says that only through bhakti I can be known. And Shastra, he says, I am to be known by the Shastra. He says that Vedescha sarva aham, Vedescha sarva aham, Vedanta krit ved chaham. So if you study all the Vedic scriptures and if you don't know who Krishna is, then it's samayevi kevalam. Then you miss the whole point. When one is in full consciousness of me by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. So Krishna himself assures us by just follow their simple process, and he will send a suitable personality, guru in our life. We don't need to look for him. Krishna will send that person to us. So these are the 11 kinds of attachment we already discussed at great length. And these are the very, very important 11 attachments that we must cultivate, Okay. Then Sutra 83, thus say the founding Acharyas, devotional service, the four Kumaras, Vyasa, Sukha, Shandilya, that is what is describing this fine small letterings, But I already discussed so much about these four Sampradayas, Shiva Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya, Lakshmi Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya. They all are the different branches of the Vaishnava philosophy, Vaishnava practice. And each of these Sampradayas, they have their own particular acharyas, Last paragraph, Prajapati Daksha, all the devotees of the Lord, but you are very kind to the conditioned soul and are eager to benefit others. Although you wear the dress of a devotee, you create enmity with people who are not your enemies. This is about how it took. Daksha had a fight with Narada Muni. The Narada Muni was taking his sons to the devotional platform, and Daksha wanted his sons to produce prajas, the expand population, and he would convert them as a devotee. That's what it is. Here, Arjuna said, you are the Supreme Person of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest. Now, Arjuna also glorifies Krishna after he heard all the teachings of Bhagavad Gita from Krishna. Then he glorifies the Lord. The next paragraph. This is from the 6th canto, 3rd chapter, 2021. Lord Brahma, Bhagavan, Narada, and Lord Shiva, the fourth. This is about this 12 Mahajanas, the authorities of devotional science, Bhakti Shastras, that we should follow. 3rd paragraph. Prajapati Daksha, all the devotees of the Lord, but you are very, very kind to the conditioned soul, and you are eager to benefit others. Although you wear the dress of a devotee, you create. So this again is fight with the Narada. Narada Muni is the one who is the greatest preacher, and so is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, if you really serve him, then he is the one who can lead us to Krishna. In fact, my personal life is like that. I used to be a Shiva devotee when I was a young kid, Lord Shiva's devotee. And look, ultimately Lord Shiva's brought me to Krishna consciousness. So that is Lord Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava, greatest devotee of Lord Vishnu. Okay, the Falastuti. Now this I'll spend time just to make sure to re-establish the faith in you. Anyone who trusts these instructions spoken by Narad Muni and is convinced by them will be blessed with the devotion. So two kinds you get that. We get bhakti, prema bhakti, and becomes very dear to Krishna. Krishna himself will present us to us. He will attain the most dear Lord. That's the promise of Narad Muni. So while we may ask questions, this is from Bhagavad Gita, and this is Prabhupada's purport, I believe. While we may ask questions, our attitude of disbelief will prevent us from understanding. So always with great faith, you should read that. Those who are not faithful. So Adau Shraddha, Madhurya Kadambini begins with that. So Pratham, in the beginning, we must have faith based on Shastra. Shastra what? Shraddha. That's the very definition of Shraddha. So those who are not faithful in this devotional service, they cannot attain me, Krishna says, O conqueror of enemies. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death in this material world. Skanda Purana. My dear Narada, of all the saintly persons, you are the great and glorious, that simply by your good wishes, a noble hunter also was become a great elevated devotee of Lord Krishna. This is about Valmiki Muni. He was a Valya Lutera, he was a hunter actually. He used to kill animals and half killing. So Narad Muni was greatly touched and he said, why are you doing that? You are half killing, causing more pain. And you are going to incur great sinful reactions. But he said, no, I'm doing it for my family. He said, no, your family would not contribute. You will suffer, you all alone. So he convinced that Valmiki Muni, who was a hunter at the time, and he converted him to great devotees. So many great souls. Narad Muni actually was a spiritual master. Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, and so on like that, just to give a few examples. So Narad Muni is a special, especially he is the greatest acharya of our Bhakti Shastra. So those engaged in getting the Lord's favor attain liberation from the Lord very easily, but he does not very easily give the opportunity to render direct service unto him. So that kind of such a rare, pure devotional service Krishna will grant us if we follow Narad Muni, the greatest servant of Lord Shri Krishna. Okay, so I stop here and see if there are questions, comments. Hari Bol. Yeah, Rakshamata, you have questions, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So wonderful class, Prabhuji. नारद भक्ति सूत्र की जय हो प्रभुजी. बस भगवान हमें बस ब्लेसिंग चाहिए प्रभुजी. ये सब आपने जो भी कहा वो हम फॉलो कर सके.
मैं जो कह रहा हूँ, मैं जो सुनी बात.
हाँ, मगर हम आशीर्वाद तो चाहिए प्रभुजी. जो अटैचमेंट के बारे में पता है वो अद्भुत है प्रभुजी. बारंबार हम पढ़ेंगे और हम उसमें से हम बहुत सारे ग्रहण करने की कोशिश करेंगे प्रभुजी. माताजी, we help परस्पर, we help each other. Yes, 100% प्रभुजी.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hari Bol.
Prabhuji, at the end, may I do Shuddha Bhakat Charana Renu?
Yeah, first it is first.
At the end.
Okay.
Yes.
After your time, I'm sure you can do.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, heartiest congratulations to yourself and Sharad Prabhu on wonderful completion of this Narada Bhakti Sutra. Has been very, very enlivening to hear this, and especially your mention about these 11 characteristics Yeah, that's amazing. And also the yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Also,
Prabhuji. Yeah. Go ahead, Sanju Prabhu. Complete.
No, I mean, in all the discourses within the saintly people and in ISKCON, I think Narad Muni is so revered and he's so mystical. Like the last verse also said that how he transformed the hunter into the devotee, and also like not just that, how he instructed Prahlad Maharaj. No, sorry, was it Prahlad or Dhruv? Yeah, Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruv as well. But Prahlad Maharaj while he was in the womb. So many instructions for us to take away personally and for the family as well. And he himself also, like how like at the age of 5 he got the instruction, and so that takeaway there is so important for kids to have that environment. So yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
He is the Shakti Avesh avatar, Bhakti avatar of Lord Shri Krishna.
Yes,
Krishna especially invested the potency of bhakti in Narad Muni.
correct. But that would have been because of his merit of or of his merit of devotional service.
Yeah.
Krishna would understand.
Yeah. Narad Muni, because his Kripa Shakti he was given, he can award, impart such bhakti in anyone.
Yes, and actually, like his what you call glories are countless. Again, the whole Bhagavatam in a way is gift from Narad Muni, right? Because he instructs Vyasadeva. Yeah.
Right,
yes.
Exactly.
Yes, amazing, Prabhu. Great choice of the course and wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Very good.
Hare Krishna.
Yes. Go ahead, Prasad Prabhu.
No questions, Prabhu, but I'm just congratulating you and Sharad Prabhu for completion of this. Such a wonderful course, Prabhu. Such a really wonderful. See, you mentioned at last, like Narada Maharshi changed so many. Okay. You talk like devotees, non-devotees, like he changed jnanis. So many has changed. So I'm hoping with these sutras, what is given, okay, at least he will also change my mind and bring towards the lotus feet of Krishna. Thank you very much. This is not an easy thing to understand this many sutras, okay, in such an abstract way and such a wonderful explanation by Prabhupada, and then such a detailed mind maps and explanation by you. And we are so fortunate, Prabhu. There is no doubt in that. We don't know how fortunate we are. That is one problem.
Yeah. You're very kind. Thank you.
Yeah, Prabhuji, Sanjeev Prabhuji as well as Prasad Prabhuji said rightly. Also Raksha Mataji. Yes, Prabhuji, we are really fortunate enough to have your sung in this very life. We owe fathomless thanks to you, Prabhuji, basically. And actually, we don't deserve so much in our lives. But with your consistent efforts, we are completing one after other the list of courses. So otherwise, it would have not been possible in this life.
I'm very, very ordinary person. I have a lot of other still desires. I'm still a sadhaka. Remember that.
And Prabhuji, please pray for our devotional life.
We help each other. Thank you, Mataji.
I request to you and Sharad Prabhuji also. And I am also thankful to Sanjeev Prabhuji as well as Mataji, your entire team for organizing this course, Prabhuji. 12 lectures we have completed. Thank you. So in a very lucid way, Prabhuji, I have taken this course, and it was really very simple to understand also philosophically. So thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Very kind.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, sorry, Mataji, just 1 minute. I had one request. So our lectures are now there on Facebook and YouTube. Please go and subscribe, like them, and share with more so they can benefit. Thank you.
Vinod Prabhu actually requested me. He wanted to have an access to the PowerPoints of previous courses,
Yes, Prabhuji.
Once
I-
again,
Okay.
The mother said, like, Prabhuji, you are so nice. Narada Bhakti Sutra, the way you walked us through. It's a late for me, but there is never late. At this stage, that's what I can go and get a nectar, whatever that you are shared with others, Prabhuji. Thank you. I'll be
Sure. If you can give me that Gmail ID, I will give the access.
okay, Prabhuji.
Sorry, Ramya Mataji. Sorry to interrupt.
Not at all, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu Dandvat Pranam. Thank you so much for the wonderful session. No words, Prabhu. We've learned so much, and in spite of your not keeping well, you've taken us through a wonderful session. And the hard work that you put and all that to enlighten us, thank you so much. No words at all. Thanks for Sanjeev Prabhuji, Sharat Prabhuji, yourself, Raksha Mataji, the whole team, Prabhuji. Looking for many more to come. Thank you so much.
And remember, Sanjeev Prabhuji is helping hand is all the time with all the
admission. But for him, we wouldn't be able to get access to all of these. And
without Sanjeev Prabhuji. And of course, Sharat Prabhuji is my right hand. I always depend on him. And Madhurya Kadambini, we would be doing it together actually. So that remember, it's going to begin next weekend. Okay, Sharat Prabhuji, you want to say some few words?
I think Prabhuji wants to say something.
Sorry, Prabhu.
Yes,
yes. Prabhu, first of all, heartiest congratulations to you for your launch of your first book. Very happy to hear this.
I think Sanjeev Prabhuji probably might give us more information, or he might share that new book information where you can buy in India.
Yeah. Prabhuji, give the name, at least name, and we can search or tell us where to buy that, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
In India,
Yeah.
Prabhuji, could you share?
Yeah, Prabhu. Yeah. You say, Prabhu, first.
Okay, I will share with you all the link.
Okay, Prabhu. And also, it's very heartbreaking to hear you cough, Prabhu. But it gives us so much encouragement that we can also do devotional service in any condition. And this is like a practical example for us.
We should ignore these things, and continue focus on Krishna, it'll take its own course and go away,
Yeah, Prabhu. But it's really very, very heartening for us also. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Sharat Prabhuji.
Lalit Priya Mataji wants to say something. She has raised her hand.
Hare Krishna, Sharat Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Caruchandara Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, the entire team, including Bhagavad Siva Prabhu and yourself and Sharat Prabhuji, for taking us through a lot of spiritual journey for the past years. And congratulations, Prabhuji, on the completion of Narada Bhakti Sutra and also on the release of your new book. Really, really amazed how you are able to do all of these things. You're juggling like between your course, your class, and your slide preparation, so many things on and on and on. I'm so inspired by your dedication and commitment, Prabhuji. Thank you again. Thank you once again. And yeah, your health, I think it's right now you're coughing a lot. So please take care of it. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Everything is done by Krishna. Hari Bol. Sharat Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I also congratulate you.
Sharat Prabhu, can I speak one thing, please?
Yes.
Okay, first congratulations Charu and Sharat Prabhuji for great service of Narada Bhakti Sutra, completely and hard work. Okay, that's the things.
Hare Krishna.
Harsha Mataji, yes.
Thank you, Chandra. Thank you, Sir Prabhu. Thank you, Sanjeev Prabhuji, and all the teammates, even who are doing Kirtan. Everybody, thank you and congratulations for completing this Narada Sutra. It's amazing, very nice class and very simple to understand. And we are really fortunate.
My baby sister. Harsha is my baby sister for every one of you.
Thank you so much, Chandra, for this. Even your health is not good.
Thank you so much. Take care of your health. And
Yeah,
congratulations for the book, which has been released. Thank you so much for taking us in this deep ocean of bhakti. Thank you very much. Sharad Prabhuji also and Sanjeev Prabhuji for doing all this. And all the Matajis and Prabhuji who are doing kirtan, wonderful kirtan we are getting to hear and all. Thank you so much. I really am overwhelmed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for completing this book and for launching your book. And here, one or two things I want to remind everybody. You see what Prahlad Maharaj had said, we have to start bhakti at the age of 5 years, which we did not. But at the same time, we should remember what King Kulasekhara says, Krishna Tadiya Padapankaja Pranjanantam. That means before our life force comes to a stop and we are not able to speak at that time, before we come to that stage, we should start Ananya Bhakti. That is remembering the Supreme Lord, thinking about Him, speaking about Him all the time, 24 hours in a day. Like what Charu Prabhuji is doing, he hardly sleeps at night. Many a times I have confronted him at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. He still is working on the slides. None of us, I think, we do not have that dedication like him. We pray to the Lord to give him strength so that not only the coming courses till Prema Vivakta, but beyond that also, the Lord should give him enough strength so that we all are benefited. Thank you very much for completing this course, and we are waiting for the subsequent courses. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Sharad Prabhuji. Very kind of you. So now, is there any other question, comments to anybody else? Before I turn it over to Sagar Prabhu to conclude the class. Okay, Sagar Prabhu.
Okay. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obsession. All go to Srila Prabhupada. Namaste Narasimhai. Namaste Narasimhai. Prahlad Daine. Prahlad Daine. Hiranyakashi Purvakshar. Hiranyakashi Purvakshar. Shilatankar Nathali. Shilatankar Nathali. Ito Narsingha, Parito Narsingha, Ito Narsingha, Parito Narsingha. Ito Yami, Ito Narsingha, Ito Yami, Ito Narsingha. My Narsingha, Hriday Narsingha, my Narsingha, Hriday Narsingha. Narasimhamadin Sharanam Prapade. Narasimhamadin Sharanam Prapade. Tamakala Kamala Bhari. Nakhadbhuta Singham Dharita. Hiranyakashipur Tanu Bringam. Kesavadhita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Dhamakala Kamala Hare. Nakhadbhuta Singham Dharita. Hiranyakashipur Tanu Bringam. Kesavadhita Narahari Rupa. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Jai Jagadisha Hare. Narsimdev Bhagwan ki jai. Bhakta Prahlad Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Charu Prabhu ki jai, Sharad Prabhu ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, all assembled devotee ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Chat Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, Sarat Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all assembled devotee, Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you very much, Sagar Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila. All glory to Srila Prabhupada, all glory to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glory to the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, all glory to all the Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. So I wish you all the wonderful, wonderful week ahead. And next weekend, we will start hearing from Sri Madhurya Kadambini that will be jointly conducted by me and Sharad Prabhuji.
Just 1 minute, Prabhu. So I think Mataji wanted to chant Shraddha Bhakta Charan Renu. So let's hear that.
Yes. Raksha Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam to all devotees. Today is Ekadasi, so we should hear this song from Srila Bhakti Vinoda Thakur. Sharanagati. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anu. Sorry, Rag galat hai. Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu Bhajana Anukula Bhakata Seva Parama Siddhi Premalati Karamula Madhavati Thi Bhakti Janani Jatane Palanakari Krishna Vasati Vasati Bali Paramadare Vari Gaura Mara ये सब स्थाने करल ब्रह्मण रंगे से सब स्थान हेरि भो आमी प्रणयी भकत संगे मृदंग वाद्य सुनिते मन अवसरा सदयाचे गौरविहित कीर्तना सुनि आनंदे हृदय नाची युगल मूर्ति देखिया मोरा परम आनंद होया प्रसाद सेवा करिते होया सकल प्रपंच जना जे दिन गृहे भजन देखी गृहे ते गोलक भाया चरण सिधु देखिया गंगा सुख नासी न पाया तुलसी देखी जुड़ाय प्राण माधव तोषणी जानी गौर प्रिय शास्त्र सेवने जीवन सार्थक मानी भक्ति विनोद कृष्ण भजने अनुकूल पाय जहा प्रति दिवसे परम सुखे स्वीकार करिए ताहा शुद्ध भक्त चरण रेणु भजन अनुकूल भक्त सेवा परम सिद्धि प्रेमलति कारमूल Shri Bhakti Vinoda Thakur ni jai ho. Happy Ekadashi to all. Thank you, Prabhuji, for so wonderful book releasing. Thank you.
Thank you, Raksha. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Congratulations, Bhaiji. Congratulations, Bhaiji. And thank you so much for your hard work. So inspiring.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Congratulations. Thank you.
Hare
Sir
Krishna.
Prabhuji Chandra. Thank you. Sir Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.